One love, one heart, one voice, one planet, and one human race. The Bob Marley Foundation values honesty, commitment, integrity, accountability, and transparency, not in words, but deeds. You too have to take action. It's not someone else's job. It's yours too. Make a difference. Find out how you can take action now by going to bobmarleyfoundation.org. It's time for the latest in hemp news from therealhempnews.com. We have Oliver DelCamino on the line with us, and he's going to give us the big three stories that are going on right now. And from what I've seen, Oliver, New York State has legalized or decriminalized marijuana for its residents. And I know that something is going on in Florida as well. So can you give us an update of what's going on in the world of hemp?
Well. Thank you so much, by the way. I really appreciate you talking about this because obviously things are definitely changing. Well, currently you've probably heard that essentially, inadvertently, Florida has legalized cannabis by legalizing hemp. What's happened here is they have the inability to distinguish between the two because they are totally identical in nature, and that to the eye it looks exactly the same as cannabis. So hemp and cannabis can be they're indistinguishable, okay? So what's happened here is that the authorities in most of the jurisdictions have been told to stand off. That is not to say that all jurisdictions are going to react the same way. But one thing's for certain, places such as, like Southern Florida, it's like South Florida, those guys are going to be in the Orlando area. Those are going to be hot spots now where clearly they've been, and this is written all over the news, just so you know, basically all they can test for is positive or negative. They don't know how much concentration of THC there is in hemp. Mm-hmm. So this is where it becomes a game changer. So for right now, they really can't do anything, and they don't want to create a bottleneck inside the system.
We have what we call an opioid crisis here in the United States, and it's a lot to do with the pain relievers people were given by going to regular doctors. Did you know that the average medical student only spends about maybe 7 to 8 hours on pain management and thus pain medicine? So it's easy to, all right, we have this opioid class. It's good for pain relief. They give you that, and then they share with their friends. Next thing you know, people die as a consequence of that. When really what would be a better way to go is the use of medical marijuana. Do you have any sort of insight about the differences and what medical marijuana can do to help somebody that is suffering from pain?
Well, that's a big one. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people who are very scared of that word marijuana. So let's say that you are the type of person who clearly just does not want anything to do with the THC side effects. The side effects being, psychoactive in that you would obviously feel some kind of a euphoria. Okay, so fine. For those people, we have now isolated the real active chemical, which is cannabidiol. So what I suggest to people is you take cannabidiol with minimum THC. Therefore, you really reduce the effects of the THC, but still retain the therapeutic benefits of it. Okay. Now, cannabidiol, there's so many different forms of ingesting it or putting it into your body that, there's a myriad of ways. Now, one thing is people who have, let's say, joint pains. There's now a roll-on company out there who's doing 500 milligram concentration of CBD in their actual deodorant. Now, this is incredible because although it's a deodorant, anywhere where you have joint pain, you would be able to apply this just by, applying it just like you would under your armpit. And what happens is because of all the cannabidiol contained with all the high concentration, and it's all organic, by the way, you get an amazing effect. So pain reduction is instantaneous. So it becomes topical, right? And there is no THC here at all, and yet pain management is incredible. So, again, it always boils down to what it is that we are talking about. I mean, if it's something that, you need something because you have an issue of neuroplasticity, okay, so then we're talking about a whole different can of worms.
Right, and then there's different types of use for medical marijuana and THC, as well as CBD.
Medicawana,
I like that. Medicawana, that would make it.
My friend.
Well, that's what I do. I reinvent the wheel on a daily basis.
Here it is.
A lot of people are talking about taking CBD oils and creams, and I got a whole shipment of gummies here. What's good? What's not? How do you distinguish between something that will be good for you, and how do you really trust the labels? That's one of the things that confuses me, because people make a lot of claims that are unsubstantiated. It doesn't necessarily have to be approved by the FDA to make it good or bad, but at least that's some sort of regulation that's going on there. So take us through the steps. If I was to go out to a drugstore or to whatever a health food store, what do I look for to make sure that I get the top quality CBD and I'm getting what I pay for?
Well, I think you hit it right on the bat, or right on the nose, and that is, I would say, go to pharmacy, first of all. They seem to be the most legit form of, because what happens is they have the ability to test there, right? They actually do have labs in the pharmacies and the spectrometers, what have you. So they're able to tell you conclusively whether there really is the amount of, CBD contained for what is being claimed as far as the concentration. Now, having said that, there's always going to be, bad players, bad seeds. There's just no way around that. And yes, you should do a lot of research, okay? Pharmacies are probably the best way to go. Never get it from a gas station. And you should, look, they're everywhere now. So, and gas stations are out there doing it. The problem is I ask them every time, can you provide a COA? And they have no clue what I'm talking about. They look at me like I have three heads.
Well, look.
So I already pull an immediate Michael Jackson, and I'm moonwalking out that door.
Look, if you're not willing to get your sushi from a gas station, don't get your CBD products from a gas station either. Gas stations are great for gas, giving you gas with their hot dogs, sodas, and snacks, but don't get – and the other thing you don't want to get are those magic pills that promise to help you endure. You know what I'm talking about? That's all phony stuff. Don't do that. Actually, if you have any trouble in those kind of areas with your health and well-being, go see a medical professional. When I say medical professional, I mean a doctor. It's always good to check with any of these things. Yeah. The thing that I like about Hempsession, which is available on Facebook and you can see it on YouTube at this point, it's also available various episodes on Big Fat American on radio.com, iHeart. We're all over the place. Millions of people can tune in anytime they want. We suggest that you subscribe, download, and share. If you subscribe, download, and share, a portion of the proceeds go to help a 501c3 charity that does a lot of good for a lot of people predominantly in the Passaic, New Jersey area. It's called St. Sophia's Mission. What I like about Hempsession when I watch you is you always keep it entertaining and you call out the bad apples. You're not afraid to call out the bad apples. As a result of doing that, has there been any blowback or any bad things happen, or do you just say it and people just pretend like they didn't hear it? What happens when you do those kind of things? Really interesting.
Well, there's no real recourse other than that. I'm hoping that enough consumers are at least aware, right? It's all about raising awareness. It's the best you can do. Educate and raise awareness. That's my intent. And that's our whole focus of the mission. So having said that, of course, when there is a obvious news piece claiming that, they've just been done testing, well, then that's where I have to step in and say, guys, this is a real thing, and you really should watch out, and this is the bad player. I hate pointing fingers only because I'm always like to give an opportunity to everybody to remediate, However, a lot of them just simply are in it for the money and are very greedy, and so their rapacious avarice blinds them. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening clearly is, the consumers will hopefully just shun them. That's the intent. Because you know what? Right now, it's just not regulated. And we don't know what's coming down the pipeline in terms of all this bad stuff. Let's just hope nobody dies.
Well, let's hope so. From your mouth to God's ears, as the expression goes. Besides all the work you do with Hempsession, one of the favorite things that I like that you do is the remote viewing. And we'll have you on maybe on Friday. We'll come back to you and talk about what you're remote viewing now. But you did talk about the October surprise. And if somebody missed it the last time, now's a chance for Oliver DelCamino, the host of Hempsession, as well as an amazing reggae DJ, to tell us about the October surprise, October of 2020. which could determine the direction of the United States as who is going to go into the White House in 2021. So give us the big news that you found through remote viewing.
Well, so what's happening there is that, well, that wasn't actually necessarily through remote viewing. That happens to just be kind of connecting the dots. And as of about 4 days ago, front page news was that President Trump signed the bill that says, okay, he's definitely ready to entertain the idea of legalizing cannabis on a federal level. So that is where it's all heading now. Okay, we're still on the remote viewing, and we're still, a little bit out, a couple of months out before I can, tell you exactly what's going to happen conclusively. But I can tell you this: everybody's clamoring for this. Mm-hmm. All right, Kamala Harris, if you notice, she's trying to be now the one that's on the forefront. Look, I'm Kamala. I'm going to legalize. Well, everybody wants credit for it, but at the end of the day, who is the ultimate person that really gets the credit?
Well, the guy who signs the bill into law. The guy who signs the bill into law, right?
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't care who is the one presenting the law. At the end of the day, it has to be signed. That's the person that really did that gets the credit.
Well,
so whether I hate to say that or whether I don't, it's irrelevant because it is what it is.
Oh, well, here's the fact, too. It's a numeric game. It's a law of probability and chance, all of those things. And you got what's called trends. You got indicators that way. If you look at the history of elections and how they go, it's a rarity that a president ever gets only one term. It's only happened.
It is. I agree with that.
It's happened twice in my lifetime, really, with Jimmy Carter and George Bush. But George Bush, the first, senior, George H. Bush, he was an extension of Ronald Reagan, so really was the third term. So historically, it's really it's highly unlikely that the incumbent loses in that race. We even see that in Congress. And why should the presidency be any different? Well, look at Congress for a second. The lowest unapprovable ratings ever. Yet each and every year, the same people, for the most part, get reelected to office. And it's the most phenomenal thing. So as much as complaining that we do about it, it seems like it's always the same old.
We certainly don't vote the way we complain, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but here's the one thing, Oliver. I think people need to take more CBD and maybe have some medical marijuana to chill out because you should never get to the point where you're on Facebook and social media, any human being, this is for your own good, and start hating anybody, whether it's the president of the United States or whether it's a person running for president of the United States or another country or another system or other people. It's just a waste of time. And then to attach yourself to political people to the point where your whole life is determined by what that person says and does, to me, that's madness. That person doesn't even know who you are. Why are you bothering with that? And if you're really upset about issues, then don't leave it to somebody else to make to make an impact. You can make the impact, right? If you have time, if you have time to comment and fight with people on Facebook, you have the time to pick up the phone and call your representative. If you have the time to pick up the phone and call your representative, you also have the time to write your representative a letter. Now, every letter they count as like 1,000 times one person. So it's almost as if you have 1,000 people standing behind you because you represent 1,000 people. So why don't you just write those letters? They'll react to letters faster than anything because they figure, this person is a real PIA, and if I don't deal with it, it's going to be trouble for me. And nobody wants to lose; they want to get reelected. So, we all have a part to play in all of this, and I would just encourage people to stop being so miserable by comparing yourself to others online. Stop fighting and stop making your political comments that nobody cares about. Nobody's going to change their mind because Oliver and Zach decided to post that online, and now everybody's voting for this one or that one. So, if you want to have a happier life, do more CBD. All right. Now, follow Hempsession. Listen to Hempsession. Oh, and if you really want to be happy, make sure you check out, the killer jams that you play on your Jamaican show. I'm sorry, reggae show. Jamaica. But I know you live in Jamaica. So on your reggae show is phenomenal. And you and I have been jamming to some Bob Marley. You also have news about the Bob Marley Foundation that you could share with us as well. That's news breaking.
Yes. Okay, so what was the question on that?
No, you're doing something with the Bob Marley Foundation.
Oh, so with the Bob Marley Foundation, what we're doing is teaming up and creating a brand together in the CBD space, specifically down in Jamaica, and then, of course, here in the U.S. as well, which, is not an easy thing to do. And as the listeners are aware, anything that's Bob Marley is usually the highest integrity. Their Blue Mountain coffee, for example, the Bob Marley coffee, it's an enormous success. Financially, that is the number one moneymaker outside of Bob Marley's music, and it's a big one. We're talking a mega $1 million operation. So, yes.
Got to have your coffee. How can people tune into your show? I know you're on Facebook. Can you give us some times and how they can find you? Oh, sign up for your Facebook page is one way.
Yeah, absolutely. The best thing to do is to go to therealhempnews.com. And what they can do there is just scroll down, and they will see that we have a radio station. So they can just click on that where the podcasts are on, and also we've got 24-hour reggae coming up here. So, it's just a matter of time until it's all complete. But if you go there now, it's on repeat, and you will be able to get a whole lot of quality entertainment on the stream.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's good to know. Good to hear. I'm so glad you can join us, and we'll tune in on Friday. We'll come back on Friday, and we'll talk about some other things, maybe get into a little bit more of the remote viewing, and we'll also cover the late-breaking hemp news, which you can find at therealhempnews.com.
One love, one heart, one voice, one planet, and one human race. The Bob Marley Foundation values honesty, commitment, integrity, accountability, and transparency, not in words, but deeds. You too have to take action. It's not someone else's job. It's yours too. Make a difference. Find out how you can take action now by going to bobmarleyfoundation.org.
Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feed.